Hey guys, what's up? This is tutorial number 2. In this video we are going to take a closer look at the True Legato instruments and its features, so we can really understand how to use it. So let's get started. So first of all, let me start with Odyssey. A fast recap. Number 1, when you have to use the adaptive legato and when not. So usually I really like to use the adaptive legato when I need a performance with a bit of faster legato, you know. Of course we are talking of vocals, so remember that is not a violin. So when I say fast, I mean agile. Okay, but remember that with Odyssey and also in Atlantis 3.5 I've improved also this setting here that allow you to change the latency in real time from the maximum value to the minimum, which is 100. Now this control works very well. So for example, if you need of a agile performance, you can use this setting 100. As you can listen to, this performance is really smooth, but is agile, sounds really good because the latency is a little bit shorter, and also when you play you have less latency. This is in real time. Then when I create my performance, of course I can fix some little issues that I have when I play. So the first idea is, if you like to work without latency, you can, for example, work with this starting setting and you can play the performance. Okay, now of course there is as you can see, the problem that you play a bit early, so you know, now I have to quantize these MIDI events. Remember to create the correct overlaps, because maybe sometimes you don't play with a correct overlap between the notes. And okay, this one, let me fix this part here. Okay, now I've the note correctly in grid, and if I like to use this setting, so legato at 100, of course I need to set the value on my track delay, so I'm going to set -100, and this is correct. Okay, now if I go in play, okay, now if I go in play, sounds really good. Is smooth, is pretty good. But in my opinion, the default setting of 300 sounds better, because the True Legato needs of a correct latency, in my opinion. So now we can listen to, okay, now we can take a look at the default value of 300, and we can take a look at this part in particular, that is medium. Okay, as you can see here, the sound is not perfect because the transitions are a bit faster. For this reason, there is the adaptive legato, because now I set the adaptive legato in on. And sounds absolutely better. Now, I would like to use also the Lookahead, because with the Lookahead I can fix a little bit some notes that could be played early because has a different latency, in particular this one. As you can listen to, this part now is played in sync, also this part, and you can see here in the instrument that these notes are played faster, because also in the interface we see fast legato. Take a look here. Okay, so remember to use the Lookahead feature only in playback, not in real time. Okay, because if you use the Lookahead in real time, you have the problem when you play. So remember, then deactivate it. So this is the workflow, in my opinion, to work with this True Legato. So maybe you can start with 100, then you set to adaptive legato after you have quantized all the MIDI events. Then you set the instrument again to 300, or you click directly on adaptive legato, and then you can activate the Lookahead feature after the quantization. And then, of course, remember to insert the maximum latency value, that is minus 300 for this instrument. Of course, you can see the latency here on the user interface, or if you click on info, you have also a recap, for example, some suggestion, and you can see here the value of this instrument. Okay, and so this is about the True Legato, how I can use the True Legato. For example, let me see in context. Okay, let me try. Is not so good, this part, but anyway, in any case, is a test. So now I played with the adaptive legato, of course. Now I quantize everything. It's really important, create a correct quantization, and remember the overlaps, because sometimes when you play you can miss the overlaps between the notes, like in this case, for example. Okay, well, now I set my look ahead. Well, I'm using the vowel sound, in this case legato O, but I can use also the syllables. In particular, in this case, I would like to try the true legato syllables that you can trigger if you change the MIDI velocity. So usually this is the workflow that I love. First I play the part. Then I, of course, go a little bit through in deep, so I can, of course, change some notes that I don't like. I fix the overlaps, blah blah blah. But then I try some variation, some syllables. For example, if I want to start with a syllable, I try this strong MIDI velocity. And I have this syllable, ma, okay? Classic O sound syllable. For example, I want the syllable maybe also in this part. Let me try. Also in this part, with this sustain here, I need of a syllable. Well, I try. Okay, let me try in this also in this part if it works, because sometimes the syllables work, sometimes not. Okay, maybe I like the vowels sound here. Maybe also here. Okay, remember an important aspect, that in the higher range there are not the syllables, because while we were recording with Sarah, we noticed that on the very high register the syllables sounded practically like the vowels. So okay, with the F we have the syllable. Here we have the syllable. Okay, from starting from this note, we have not we don't have the syllables anymore, because the sound is practically the same, because are really high notes. Okay, so anyway, this is the workflow, because I try. If here I want the syllables, I try. If I like how they sound, okay. Okay, sounds good. In particular, keep in mind that in general the syllables work very well when you have this kind of part. So when you have long notes, when you have really short and agile, fast passage, you have to try, because sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work. For example, here work very well. Then, of course, we have the key switch. And for example, I have the legato and the legato A. And also the legato A has the syllables. And usually I like to change with the key switch, maybe first part with the O, then I switch to the A. Switch to the A, O, A sound with the syllable, well, now we have another solution, that we have the animated syllables here, syllables number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let me explain these syllables, how I have created this syllable, and usually how I like to use this syllable. So these syllables work, in my opinion, in some case, in particular when you have this kind of notes. So for example, a long note, and when you need of a phrasing. So because in this case, yes, we have the syllables, but is static, no? We have the consonant at the start on the attack and of the sound, and then we have the vowel sound, so kra, kro, ta, za, tu, etc. But if I need of a phrasing, na, ta, kra, sa, I can use the syllable here. This range means that is the suggested range, BPM range, that in my opinion works better. For example, this 170-100 means that works better in this range, but of course I tried, and into the context works very well also at 120. But remember that you have also the version 100-130, that means that probably works better in this range, but try it, and then you can understand that if it works or not, or maybe you can use the other version. Are a lot, so you can try. Let me play a bit with this syllable. For example, the first one. You can listen now that this has this phrasing. With this nice real-time performance by Sarah. So if you play following this phrasing, it's really easy having a credible performance. Of course, you have to pay attention at the phrasing because is constant. For example, remember the breath. Now, let me try into the context. So here works fantastic, in my opinion. Here works very well. Here works. In this part, I don't like it. So what I can do, probably I change. Or I change with another syllables, or I change with the vowels sound, with the true legato, you know? So remember that the syllables here doesn't work with the MIDI velocity, so you can use any MIDI velocities. There is no problem. It's not like the true legato. So let me try. For example, this is probably a solution. I start with the legato O. And then I switch to the syllable. Probably if I want to use the syllable, I can create a break, a pause here, a rest here. Let me try if this is good. So I start with the O. Phrasing. Phrasing again. O. Phrasing. Okay, here I need this editing. As you can see, I recorded the key switches. So vowels, true legato, syllables. Okay, here I need an editing because I don't like. Okay, let me try. Okay, maybe I can try also phrasing in the final notes, but I can try with the syllable number 2 that has this phrasing. Let's listen to this syllable 2. So as a slower phrasing. Let let me check from the beginning. This is the key switch I put here. This is how I like to use the animated syllable. I create this switching between the vowel sound, then animated syllable where I need. And remember that when you need a faster, an agile connection, probably the vowels sound is the way, so is the best solution. But when you have longer note and sounds good phrasing, sounds better a phrasing than a long note, static note. So probably sounds better a phrasing, an expressive phrasing. So this is probably the point where an animated syllable works very well, and then you can choose from 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then 5 and 6 are the same, but are a little bit more connected with the legato A, because in the phrasing there is the A sound like vowels, but you can also use in combination with the O, there is no problem. Sounds good in any case. And let me try in another part. Okay, I cancel this. That's all, and let me think another suggestion. Yeah, about the release samples. So as you can see here, you have the release. This change the volume of the release samples. So there is a topic that I would like to explain. When I create the True Legato, I really like having a real legato sample. That means that there is a real performance from the start to the end of the notes. So there is not any audio loop. For me, is better because there is a really nice vocal. But of course, I created also a release sample. That means that if I cut the note before the natural ending, I have a release sample. This one. Let me remove the reverb. And this is pretty cool because allow you to play also this performance. So and you can set the release as you prefer. But there is a little problem that if I play a really long note, of course, now the note is completed. If now I release the key, I have the release note. So it's not a big issue because, of course, so usually I don't take so long a note because it's not natural. Of course, when you play in real time, you have to stay. You have to pay attention at the timing, because if you don't have a correct timing with the adaptive legato, sometimes there is some little don't so good timing. But of course, then when you quantize, there is no problem. So just to remember that if you don't need of the release sample for any reason, you can set to off the slider and you don't have any release samples. I don't like it because it's not natural. I like this one. Much better in my opinion, but if you need, set to 0 the release. And you don't have any release samples. And okay, then another suggestion, another info about the True Legato. This is a specific tutorial on the True Legato, so it's not a tutorial, a composing tutorial. I would like to give you just some information about this instrument, and these informations are valid also for Atlantis. Okay, then of course remember that you have the bypass switcher here to set the convolution reverb to off, but remember that you have also the room mic, so if you want a completely dry signal, or you set to off the room. So this is completely dry without room. I prefer, of course, with a bit of room, and then I can add an additional reverb. Then you can use an external reverb, and I don't know, like Valhalla, you know, or any external reverb, or you can use also the internal FX section that is pretty cool, and you can. In any zone of the XY table, you have different effects, so you can try. Is a little bit an experimental stuff, so you can try different position to create ethereal sound, you know. And all on the left, in this position, you have a dry signal, but of course it's better if you put the XY table to off. Okay, last but not least, the short legato. Let me explain a bit this one, because it is an experimental patch. So first of all, to use the short sound, I suggest to set the latency to 100. Of course, you need a short latency, because when you play absolutely 300 is too much. Then here we have 4 dynamic levels. First level, which is really soft, is the legato. Then that of course sounds like a legato with 100, so it's not so smooth, it's an agile legato, but in this case is necessary because I need a short latency to play the short notes. Then if you play a little bit more stronger, you have the first layer of the staccato. Then if you play a little bit more stronger, you have the second layer. And if you play a very strong, you have the last marcato sound. So this is an experimental articulation, because probably in the future I would like to try this path, this solution, because in my opinion opens some nice things. So I will improve these sampling techniques. So combining all these things, legato, sustain, marcato, staccato together, but in any case works fine. For example, now I set 100. Let me try. Okay, let me try. Just to give you an additional suggestion when you play faster note. Okay, I created this. Well, I created this melody with the piano, for example. Okay, then of course I create the overlaps, and now I copy on my True Legato. Let me check if the True Legato, if the overlap is correct. Okay, now I try with the Lookahead. So just remember, sometimes maybe you can try with a little bit more overlaps between the notes, just in the really short passage, fast passage, but it depends. It's not always necessary, so try. So this is of course an agile performance, so just an example of how you can play how you can use the adaptive legato with this kind of melody, where you have a little bit of more necessity of an agile legato. And okay, I think that for this tutorial I've covered any information about the True Legato, and in general the syllables are really cool. As I can say, as I said before, I really like to use this syllable in combination with the vowel sound. Okay, in the next tutorial I will talk about the polyphonic. Remember that this is a polyphonic instrument. I saw in some videos on YouTube that this instrument, it was played like monophonic instrument, but of course you can play it like monophonic instruments. It's not a problem. You can play like a monophonic instrument, but I've created this instrument to be played in particular in polyphonic mode. And of course, it's really cool when you combine all these things together. For example, I played this part here, no? And of course, I really like when I play, for example, this part, and in this case, I copy the MIDI, I remove everything, I take only the first part, of course, and I choose to play this one, for example, with a True Legato, for example, the Odyssey True Legato O. Let me remove the automation because I want to play again. So of course these two instruments work very well together. Let me try with the syllable here. Of course, I can try also to control the dynamics altogether. So I remove also the dynamic here. So I play everything. I control the dynamic of the two instruments together. And of course you can create a pretty cool choir part, because for example now I duplicate I duplicate this True Legato. Again I duplicate this part, and now I use the second yes, I use the I create a second part, and I create a sort of choir. And remember that you have also Atlantis with other singers, so maybe in a next tutorial I will show you how you can use any voices, any singers to create a choir. Okay, so I duplicate again. Let me try with another part, maybe this one. Of course, now I'm using the legato O, but I can try with the syllables. So syllable 1, also in this one, syllable 1, and I transform this True Legato in a polyphonic True Legato. Okay guys, I hope this tutorial it was helpful, and if you have any question, please write under the comment. You know, I of course I try to help everyone, so if you have any question, any problem, write under the comment. And okay, see you in the next tutorial, and so we will see another features, maybe a little bit more the polyphonic syllables, of course the hybrid vocal synth, and in particular I would like to take a look at the use of the Atlantis plus Odyssey, etc, etc. See you next. Ciao.